You are listening to A Quiet Mind. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for being here in this moment, present. And let's just take a quick moment to breathe deeply, just for a few seconds. Just breathe in. Now, just hold that breath and exhale. And how do you feel? The breath can always bring us back. No matter what is going on throughout our day, this is probably one of the most powerful tools that we have that we don't need to go out and buy. And we don't need to find a special place to do this. And this is a practice that is, we're able to hit the ground running with this because no matter where we are and what we're doing, we always have the ability to breathe in and out. And I find that coming back to this throughout the day is refreshing, it is grounding, and it is my cue to check in and notice just where I'm at in my breathing. How is my breathing right now? Am I relaxed? Am I breathing deeply? And here where I am from, in North America, the United States, we're about the shallowest breathers on the planet. We forget to breathe deeply. Just to stop and breathe. When you find yourself in a situation where you know you have all of the cues that are telling you that this is an elevated or stressful moment, your breath is shallow and rapid. Your body is tensed and rigid. You may even break into a sweat or have a blotchiness or a blotchy appearance on your face or on your hands. All of these are our signposts and our cues. We've just forgotten to match them back up with the mental cue. So here's the mental cue. Whenever you feel any of these sensations at all throughout the day, today, your assignment is to check in with your breathing. Now, I know that we have done this before in past podcasts, but once again, I find that when I'm observing myself silently throughout the day, I see just how many times I check in with my breathing. And that is my guide, my guidepost, my signpost to, am I being fully aware in this moment, self-aware, and observing, or am I caught up again in the drama? We spoke about this before, like when we're in the movie theater. I remember, if you remember, a few lessons back we did that, about how life is like being in a movie. And we have to see, am I caught up in it again? Okay, in the drama, in the play that's going on. And the best way to check to see if you are caught up is to see how you are breathing. Are you paying attention to your breath? Do you have your attention on your breath? So, one point for today. This is just a small review that we're going to have this week. Remember to check in with your breathing. And that's just following it in and out. In, out. Say that to yourself. The whole in breath would be more like this. In, then out. I'm not saying I have a wonderful singing voice, but in, out, the whole breath. Try that a few times. In, out, the whole time you're doing the breath. You can't believe how relaxed and how at peace and how grounded this can make you. And in, our frantic life that we have, we can't always stop to do certain practices that we've learned that are great tools for our transformation. But this is one that we can use anytime, anywhere. We can check in on our breath. So let's remember to do that today. And I wanted to say also thank you very much for people who have been writing in. I've received a lot of wonderful letters and a lot of suggestions for podcasts that are going to keep me busy for a little while. I want to thank you very much for these ideas. And I'd like to just take a moment here to remind you all that you can always write to me at robert@aquietmind with any of your suggestions or ideas. And of course, given the time, I will answer all of these in this format, because I think that it is wonderful that you're writing in and we're discussing. So this letter is from Annie, and she wanted to know if we could talk a little bit more about mindfulness. And in her letter, it's becoming mindful. Doing everyday tasks, I find this extremely challenging. After priding myself on being great at multitasking, I now need to stop doing it. Multitasking is certainly the opposite of mindfulness. Now, this is very interesting because I'm certain that multitasking is something that everybody has to do in this day and age. If you don't have to, then you are in a wonderful place where maybe you can put more attention on mindfulness. Otherwise, all of us, and I see it happening to me all the time, I will be so busy that when it comes time for me to do the dishes at night, I'll have the phone and I'll find that that's my time that I want to call and talk to my family members and my friends is while I'm doing my dishes. And I thought, well, here's a great opportunity for me to multitask. And then I realized something very important, and it coincided wonderfully with Annie's letter and suggestion for this, because I realized that this is my time for one of my practices that I find to be one of the most pleasurable mindful practices. And at one time I actually did this for a living, and I wasn't quite mindful of it then because I was quite young. It was one of my first jobs. But during this time when we're washing the dishes, this is a wonderful time in this so-called mundane task. And any of these that we can call or label mundane are absolutely perfect for you to put into practice being mindful in that moment with exactly what you're doing. So washing the dishes, I have a conversation with myself, and it goes something like this. Right now, I'm washing this glass. Right now, I'm washing this glass. On the inside, on the outside, now I'm rinsing this glass. Now I'm setting this glass down in the dish drainer. And this is how we do it. It's very literal. This is my practice of mindfulness. There may be many other ways to do this, but I'm very literal when saying, I am washing this glass right now. And this is what I do repeatedly over and over again. And after a while, you will see just how thorough that this makes you, just how gracious it is to be there, and the miracle of the dishes, the water running, the hot water and it coming through the pipes, and the suds coming up and the sounds that it makes. It's just a wonderful miracle. And how often have you done this without being mindful of the fact that you are here now in the present washing your dishes? This is usually the time where we let our minds just float away. Whoop, there they go. Where did it go? And you're remembering the time that you, first time you ever put on roller skates, and you're reminiscing and thinking back on the, the turtle that you had when you were young, or you're thinking about the first time you lost a tooth, or you're going way, way back down memory lane, and we've spoken of that before as well. And there goes the mind, it's gone. And before you know it, psh, you've broken a glass. Oh, how did I do that? Maybe you've even hurt yourself or cut yourself, or you've dropped a plate, or you almost dropped it. And you'll find that in those moments, the reason why you have had a so-called accident, or maybe you've had a near disaster, was because in that moment, you were far, far, far away from doing the dishes. Check in with this, experiment with it. You'll find that these times during the so-called mundane tasks of the day, that your mind will be so far away, it'll be 20 years, 10 years, 5 years back. Or maybe it's thinking about what's going to happen next in the future, the new car you're going to buy, or, what about those Visa bills, and, oh, the phone bill needs to be paid, and, oh, the kids need to get to school, and I've got to walk the dog, and the mind is just going all over the place in these moments. This is its time to kind of, it's going to take stock. Isn't that wonderful? It's going to riffle through all of its little files. It's going to go down the memory lane file. It's going to go into the what to do file. It's going to go into the, maybe it's going to go into the victim file. Maybe at this time you find that this is where you are becoming a victim, and you're attacking yourself, and you're finding things wrong with you and what you're doing and in your life. Check in at this time during these mundane tasks. You will see the mind is going crazy. It is all over the place. So, what do we do? In the moment, become mindful. Talk to the glass. Say, I'm washing this clear glass. Now I'm washing the Tupperware container on the inside, on the outside. Become fully immersed in what you're doing in the moment. Do not let the mind fritter away, where it wants to go backwards, it wants to go forwards. It wants to talk on the phone with relatives. It wants to have a conversation with itself about the next teapot that you want to buy. Bring it back into the moment. This is a wonderful and powerful practice. When you're doing the dishes, do the dishes. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. And this practice can also be used sweeping the floor. It can be used washing your hair in the shower. Anywhere where you find that you are doing what is a so-called mundane task, put this into practice. And let's try that out for a little while. Try it on for size for about a week. And then please write back to me and tell me how it worked for you. Thanks for listening.